All right, welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Roundtable podcast. I am joined again with Adam Erwin, writer and author of Lessons from Coach. He came back in today to speak about the neuroscience of building trust. Thanks for coming back. It was fun.
It was a good time.
Yeah, it really was. And some of the stories that you shared were really impactful. So we're excited to kind of touch on it for everybody else that wasn't in the room.
Let's expand. Let's go.
Let's do it. So when you talk about the neurosciences of building trust, and the way you kind of explain it in stories, right? Would you say, well, maybe share the story about when you went into the sandwich shop, because I think that really does a really good job articulating what happened.
So with the sandwich shop, I go in, and I'm gonna keep all the names out of it.
Yes.
Rhymes with shimmy shans. But I go into a sandwich shop, and the woman at the register, she's looking at her nails. She looks like she doesn't want to be there, and she looks like she's never, ever wanted to be there.
Disengaged, 100%. We all know that person.
She's checked out.
And
so she's typing on the register, taking my order. And as she's doing it, I notice that she's got this necklace with this big oval photo on it. And I just said, "Hey, I noticed your necklace. Can I ask you about your necklace?" And she goes, "Oh, yeah." And she transforms. Like, she goes from totally checked out to present, like engaged. And she goes, "This is me and my sister. And she was shot and killed last year." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. That is so hard." And so I asked her sister's name, and I asked her name. And I just said, "Hey, I just want you to know that I'll be praying for you, and I really appreciate you sharing that, and I hope you have a good day." So I take my little cup, and I take my chips, and I go down to the end of the line, and I wait for my sandwich. And 15 or 20 seconds later, she points and yells, "Hey, God bless you." And it was just one of those things where someone goes from totally disinterested, totally checked out, body language is just out the door, to totally engaged, trust building, and absolute connection with somebody, just in a microsecond. Mm-hmm. Just, she felt safe, she felt seen. That turned into trust, and it turned into an awesome connection. And it was so cool. It's amazing what we can do when we just observe things, ask a genuine question, and we can start to disarm the things in our brain that are always searching for threat. And when we turn down threat, we get safety. When we get safety, we earn trust. And it's so cool to do that with people that we're just meeting for the first time.
Well, you hear stories about, like, I was in the line at Starbucks, right? And someone paid for the coffee, and then that train keeps going.
Yeah.
Right? You don't get to see the person.
Right.
You don't know who that person is. You have a good feeling inside of you,
Sure.
Like, wow, that's really great that someone did that. And then I'm going to be generous and do it for the next person. And there is actually some kind of like high that you get from the person not knowing who you are a little bit.
Sure.
Like, I was generous, completely random. Why does it work more and better when it's in this scenario?
I think when we can get toe-to-toe with somebody, face-to-face with someone, we have an opportunity to very effectively take down the threat response, the amygdala, the part of the brain that is really searching for threat. A person is going to, within 100 milliseconds of seeing you, they're trying to determine, are you safe or are you a threat? And part of the benefit is we get to see the transformation. We get to see them going, "Hey, I'm checking out my nails, I'm checked out, I don't want to be here," to, "Oh my gosh, you see me." And we get to see the transformation, which is so powerful. And then we also get on the receiving end, we get the other parts of the connection as we do little micro safety things to build trust. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of is a full loop, and we get to experience all of the neural connections and all of the oxytocin and things, the trust bonding chemical. We get to experience the full loop of the event, as opposed to, like at Starbucks, like you do the good thing, you don't know who it's for, you don't interact with them, you don't get to see them transform into gratitude. Mm-hmm. So being able to see the full transformation and get a full loop out of it, I think is just so much more powerful.
Well, the impact that we have as agents or in business owners or entrepreneurs or whatever it is, or just being good humans, walking in we're in a human-to-human business, right?
Right.
And with COVID happening, people get headphones in, they're on their phone, they order everything, they just don't get out in the world. I think a lot of it is foreign to them to have like an actual real-life connection with a human being outside of maybe their family.
Right.
And so, like, the impact that you're making, or we can make as a whole here, by just stepping out of our way and noticing something and how you changed her life. You definitely changed her day.
Changed her day.
100% chance you changed her day. And the next customer and the next customer after that.
Yeah, how she shows up after that, who knows? You know?
Yeah. So what things in that were the keys that you built the trust around? Like, how did she go from, I'm shut down to now I trust you, Adam?
Yeah. When it comes to new connections, and this is something that's not universally unique to new connections, but it certainly is front and center with new connections. And it's when you have an observation and then you state the observation and then you put it in the form of a genuine question, or even to say, hey, tell me about, which is not a question, but actually serves almost sometimes more powerfully than a question. If we just say, hey, tell me about your necklace, it doesn't feel like a quiz. Sometimes when we ask a question, sometimes they can, people can kind of take a step back. But when we observe and then we state what we observed, and then we can form it as a genuine question, they go from the amygdala part of the brain searching for threat to that being turned down to all the social engagement pieces getting turned on. Oxytocin starts to flow, which is our trust bonding chemical. And so with each little step along the way, and then as I asked her about her sister's name and her name, I'm leaning in more, helping her feel more seen, building more oxytocin bonding trust. And then it goes and grows from there. But it is so cool to watch people as they disarm themselves and they go, oh, you are safe. And that's what trust is. Like from like a neuroscience standpoint, trust is the feeling of safety amidst uncertainty. That's what people's brains are constantly, all of our brains are constantly looking for. Am I safe in the midst of uncertainty? That's what we're constantly doing, and we're not cognizant of it. It's just automatically happening.
And I wonder why that is. Why do we automatically go to Best Buy, you're there to buy a TV, and the salesperson comes up to you and says, how can I help you? And you say, no, I'm just looking. Like defense is up, right? Instantaneously. And it's like, wait, no, I do need help. I am here to buy a TV.
Right.
Why is that? Like any clue that like this is why it is? And maybe for a salesperson like that, what would be a better path?
Because they skip the warm up. If you go to the gym and you just go straight to the weights, it's like, no. Anybody that's anybody that's worked out at all, they're gonna know. Like before this podcast, we did some stretching.
We had to do some stretching. It was entertaining stretching, I'm sure.
And there will be some B-roll on that. I'm certain. Thanks, Anthony.
Positively,
yes.
Make fun of me.
But when you skip the warm up, when you go straight to a question, it feels like a quiz. It feels like sales. Genuine is the lead. If that same salesperson at an electronics store was to start with an observation, even unrelated to anything else, whether it be about their shoes or just their shirt, anything that you can pick up and observe and take note on, like that's the pathway to building trust with a new connection. Don't start with a sales question, because people are coming in, one, they're expecting it. Our brains are hardwired for novelty. We want things that we're not expecting. We want new things. I think we may have talked about before the sales call thing, where they did a study where they would dial people up, and it was a study about how long they could keep somebody on the phone with a sales call. And the very first thing the pretend salesman would say would be, "Oh, I'm so sorry, my cat just went over on my computer and I spilled coffee over my whole keyboard. Can you hold on just a second?" The length of time that people stayed on that sales call because they're curious about the cat and the coffee, it was amazing. Like our brains are hardwired for novelty.
You're not wrong on that, because the best sales calls or the voicemails I leave, or people that don't know me, but maybe they reached out at some point, the more weird I would be, the more bold I would be,
Sure.
the strange things I would say. Like the first person that calls me back, it's a Britney Spears signed football. They'd be like, what? They're so curious. They call back. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. But really, it was just a way to break the ice and start building a relationship with them or open up a dialogue.
Right. If we can lead with observation on any sort of new sales type of thing, new connection type of thing, and or if we can provide novelty. I mean, that's a great way to go. So, there have been times where I've seen somebody, in like a hotel lobby, or we're in an elevator together or something, and they're wearing something wild. And I'll just say, I have that same outfit, and I was just going to wear it today, and I'm so, like, that would have been so awkward, in this elevator right now. They're not expecting it. It's novelty.
Yep.
So, yeah, if we can lead with observation or lead with novelty, those two things are so good at getting people from a place of, this feels like sales, this feels pushy, to, I want to lean in. This is fun.
He notices me.
Yeah.
He cares about me.
I feel seen.
He's asking questions. I'm feeling seen.
Yeah. So I think seen is the goal first. Seen first, sales way down the road.
So can the rule of one, can this work out not directly face-to-face? Could it work out on the phone while say someone's on the phone, like
That is a great question.
building, a sales call, if you will.
Yeah.
Right? Now they're there to help and they're not because we're guarded on the other end, but is there a way to, without seeing them?
Can we prime them on what rule of one is?
Yeah.
'Cause I don't
share
think
it
we
the rule.
talked about- yeah.
Share it again. This went viral last time, by the way.
It did go viral.
Yep.
No
Share
pressure.
it again.
No pressure. Rule of one is, wherever I go, coffee shop, department store, grocery store, gym, wherever, I'm going to pick one person, and I'm either going to say something kind to them or I'm going to ask them a question about themselves. And I will not leave until I've done that. It has been transformational in the way that I interact with people. It has increased my love for humans. It is like easily over 90% of the time, it turns into something really cool. And it doesn't have to be a 10 or 20 minute conversation. It can just be a 45-second little interaction. Mm-hmm. But it's awesome. Most of the time, when I employ rule of one, it's awesome.
Well, you said you bat like 92%.
Yeah, it's
almost
wild.
Every person that you talk to.
It's wild. And it really blew me away. And part of today's conversation about the neuroscience of building trust, I was so stumped on, like, why does this work? Mm-hmm. I love that it works, but I couldn't figure out why. And so I really started digging into how our brains are wired and how trust is built. I'm like, oh, it so happens that I just, crazy dumb luck, I stumbled right into something that works awesome based upon how our brains are created. So, but you had asked about how this would work over the phone.
Yeah.
Good question. I would say most of our cues are way better in person.
Agreed.
So even on a screen, we are robbed of the parts of our brain that are trust building mechanisms are almost shut off.
I would agree with that.
On Zoom, on FaceTime, whatever it is. So even if we're face-to-face on a screen, not the same as being in person. Mm-hmm. So I would say good luck on rule of one over the phone. Not that it wouldn't work. Expect your closing rate or your success rate to be lower because people can't see your eyes. They can't, if they're on the phone and they're talking to you on the phone or they're listening to like a voice message from you, there's 19 things going on in the same room.
Yeah.
There's background
noise.
They
can't see your body language.
Right. They're looking at a bird
100%.
outside. So we don't have a captive audience as much when it's voice.
Yep.
And voice only. A lot of our nonverbal cues are sight-based. And so it's so hard to win with just your voice when you don't have the benefit of nonverbal cues, which are pretty important.
Well, just because so much of our business is run via phone. Yeah. But when we're interacting with people for the first time, or we meet somebody for the first time, that's where these can be really, really, really valuable.
Right.
Right. The things that you noticed.
Right.
Because if we're building trust through the oxytocin by noticing them, and I think people like to talk about themselves too.
Yes.
And I don't think they get the opportunity to talk about themselves almost ever anymore.
People are so hungry. And it's almost like one of those things. It's like, oh, that's enough about me. What do you think about me? That's how much we like to talk about
yes.
ourselves, you know? But it's so amazing when the types of things that we can accomplish, even on the phone, even before we meet. Because one of the parts we talked about the neuroscience of trust as it applies to clients.
Yes.
And we talked about how being predictable and being reliable are so powerful. When we simply do what we say we're going to do, hey, I'm going to send you an email by 4 p.m. today, or I'll check in as soon as I know about this aspect of the
whatever. Yep.
Yeah. When we do that,
Yep.
when we fulfill the promise that we make, even the micro promises that we make, and we never blow them off, and we make sure that we can fulfill our word, we can start building trust in those ways, even before we've met, even without having all the facial cues, and all the facial recognition stuff, and the benefit of building trust in person. With our actions and leading with integrity and doing all the things we promised to do, that helps us to build trust with our clients even before we've met. And I feel like sometimes we can talk ourselves out of keeping the promise that, oh, I said I'd email you by 4, I got to pick up my kids, and not that life shouldn't be lived. But when we make our promise, we need to be careful, a good gatekeeper of our promises. Make sure you make a good one that you can fulfill. But don't talk yourself out of fulfilling the promise that you make.
Yep. No matter how small or minuscule it may seem to you, to them, it may be significant.
All the difference.
All the difference, yes.
Because so many people, I mean, we flake on everything now. We flake on, like, this is a terrible example, but I remember being at the dentist in my 20s, and he's asking me, hey, when's the last time you flossed? And I'm like, you were there, actually. I was in this chair last time my teeth were flossed, which is gross and terrible, and judge me later. Now,
that's probably 80% of people.
But now, in my mid to early late to kind of 40s, in my 40s, I will literally cancel plans to take food out of my teeth. I will flake on you if I feel like I need to like growth has happened in that department. Like I'm so much better about flossing now. But the point is that people flake on stuff all of the time. And so when you are really good at follow through, therefore that sets you up to be really good at building trust.
Yep. I have noticed that if I am quick to respond, quick with an answer, and they don't have to wait a long time for an email, a phone call, or a text message back from me, that trust grows and grows exponentially. And I only have to miss one deadline, one time for that to go away.
Right.
I've lived it, I've seen it and ran it, and I've changed my business because of it.
Yeah. Well, you are Amazon and you are DoorDash.
All together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like in the realty business, you have to almost live up to the expectation that has been created by the on-demand life. They can binge everything. They want to binge real estate too.
Yes. I want to see it now, right this second, and if you don't do it, I'll go to the next person that will.
Right.
Yep.
Which makes building trust even more important because the climate is so distrustful.
Well, when there's as many agents as there are in this industry, and anyone's like trying to eat your lunch, it's like it's important that you don't lose them.
Yeah,
definitely. In today's topic too, you had a conversation or a story about Shaquille O'Neal and how it related to teams. And I love teams. I mean, I'm a team person. I've been, all my whole life, from sports teams to real estate team. I like being around great people. I like to be around in that world.
Yeah.
Right. Adam, if you weren't an author, I'd try to recruit you to be a real estate agent on the team.
That's kind.
Well, maybe I can convince you someday. But share the story about that and what lessons you got from it, because that was super impactful in today's meeting. Everybody saw that and they're like, just stopped. They took pictures. Like, it was a big deal.
Yeah. The story about Shaq that I was referencing today, during the end of his playing career when he's playing for the Phoenix Suns, and he decides that he's going to get his master's. And he reaches out to the University of Phoenix, which is primarily an online institution. And he says, hey, I want to get my master's. I want to go through you guys. You're local. But I do way better in person. I don't care what it costs. What does it take to be in person? And they said, well, it's less about the cost. It's more about we need a certain amount of people in the room for us to have classes in person. We need 15 people in the room. So Shaq's like, okay. And he goes and recruits 14 friends and pays for all of them to get their masters. And it became a singular one-person goal to a we goal. It went from me to we.
Yep.
And one of the coolest parts about it is, it sounds like you're getting a call. Maybe not. I just ruined good audio right there.
No, you're good. It makes it real.
Yeah. Actually,
we actually do get phone calls during the middle of things.
Yeah, that's how popular the guy is right now. He's on fire right now. But the best part about the Shaq story is it speaks to when you have a shared journey, when you have a shared destination. Anytime that, like, one of the most important questions that we can ask ourselves when we're trying something really hard, when we're pursuing our own personal intentional growth, one of the most important questions we can ask is, who can I bring with me? Because when you bring team around you and you have a deadline, and like in this case, there was a deadline, like it's going to be 2 years or whatever it is.
Yep.
You know, it's a very clear mission, and you see the person next to you trying hard, because he's not doing this just for fun. Like he's a guy that goes after it, and so you see his effort, and then his other friends want to step up and match his effort. Being around excellence is contagious. We have a mirroring mechanism that we utilize knowingly or unknowingly all of the time. And when we're mirroring someone, a lot of what we're going to mirror is their effort. And like you see this in communication. Like if you get a text that's short and not very kind, or then you might mirror that and also send a text message that is also short. Or if someone approaches you and their big smile and big energy, then you match it. When we have little kids that we're talking to and they're too loud and we start to whisper, kids will whisper back.
Turn it down.
We mirror all of the time.
All the time.
And so one of the best things about teamwork, when you can have an individual goal, ask yourself, who can I bring with me? So even like in the realty business, whatever type of personal goal, personal growth you're after, whether it's to read a book a month, great. Then who can I bring with me? If you're going to run a half marathon or a 5K or a marathon, great, who can I bring with me? It doesn't have to be industry-specific, professional-specific goal. It can be anything. But anytime that you turn a me into a we and you make it into a team sport, you unlock a whole bunch of predictability and reliability potential, which turns into massive amounts of trust amongst colleagues.
Well, and they feel like, you had even said this, if someone else on the team wins, but you feel like even if you had a very small part in that win,
right,
they get the same dopamine and oxytocin drop that the person actually that did the task got.
So even if, like you watch all the time, players that are on the bench, they celebrate the same as the guy that scored the winning basket.
In the press box.
Right.
And they all celebrate the win.
When you're a part of a team and you have a shared goal, whatever the goal is, when one person wins, because of the group dynamic of it, it can feel like everybody won, which is a pretty unique and very cool type of circumstance, because a lot of times it's so easy to be jealous. It's so easy to not want to celebrate other people. Just, if we don't have any ownership in it, we're not going to celebrate it.
Yeah.
When we have ownership, we celebrate.
Well, I think that's good culture and versus bad culture. Sometimes there is going to be that element of he did and I didn't, or she did and I didn't. But if it's a true good positive culture, you'll have very little of that. Yeah,
ideally, but also the trick is to make sure that it's not just always like a sales goal. It's not just to keep bringing in fresh team growth opportunities. When you can keep it fresh, different, and interesting.
Yep.
That's how you maintain the trust building snowball that you can create with team dynamic.
Yeah. So with the book and Lessons from Coach, is there a next thing? And now you're understanding the neuroscience, or anything we should ask about the neuroscience that goes a little bit deeper. But what's next? Any ideas?
Yeah. So yes.
Okay.
I started getting up a few weeks ago. I started getting up at 4:30 in the morning every morning. And with the idea of there's a gap between how I execute and what my best could look like.
Okay.
And I really want to know for sure what my best looks like. when I get to 80, I'm going to have a lot of regret if I leave a whole bunch of potential on the table. That's going to bug me. It's going to haunt me.
Yep.
And so I started getting up a few weeks ago at 4:30, working on the follow-up book here. Because Lessons from Coach, I did 33 interviews on airplanes, 5-year social experiment, just hopping on planes, booking flights to anywhere, just so I could interview the passenger next to me. 33 interviews and 36 attempts. It's like 91.6% closing rate on that. And it really bugged me that I didn't know why that worked.
Yep.
It was so successful, but I couldn't figure out why. And so what's coming, in addition to figuring out why this worked the way it did, and we had some massive wins, some really, 14 people cried on my shoulder. We had amazing connection, conversation.
That's still crazy to me. I'm sorry. Like that's so insane to me. I gotta stop and just be like, wait, people you didn't know before a plane ride, you talked to them. 14 of them cried on your shoulder.
Right.
In the span of an hour or 2 hours?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
When you stab people with a pen, they tend to just, no. No, but
guys, that's impact. That's impactful.
Vulnerability is contagious.
Yes, it is.
It's contagious. And when I, quite by accident, built these interviews in a certain way, turns out that they were built pretty well. I didn't know what I was doing, but it all worked out. But it was amazing to have moments of shared vulnerability and to get people, this segment brought to you by Puffs Plus with aloe, by the way. I didn't understand why all these things worked with Lessons from Coach, and I also wanted I wanted a daily playbook on dry land. I fell in love with humans again doing these interviews, and I wanted to find a way to do that every single day without requiring buying like airfare for myself.
Yeah.
Like, I want to connect
I feel
with
like
people.
that'd get expensive.
Yeah, I want to connect with people in a meaningful way, but I don't want to have to buy airfare and hop on a plane to do it.
Yeah.
What's the dry land version of Lessons from Coach? And so that's what's next. We can't drop all the details on what's coming, but the next book, the follow-up book, is a bit of neuroscience on the art and science of human connection.
Yeah.
And also the playbook, the blueprint for how to meaningfully connect with people that are placed in your path every single day. And I'm in love with all of this stuff. It is so fun.
I can see your passion. Dude. Like it's amazing.
It is
and
so cool.
It's contagious, and I'm excited for it and excited for you. What would your advice be? Okay, so COVID hit me pretty hard. I lost a lot of human connections. I went home. I've been working from home. I have even social anxiety.
Sure.
Right? That's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
The people at the gym with the headphones in that don't talk to me,
right?
With stare at their eye. What would be your advice after everything you've done, everything you've talked to, or people you've talked to, for someone that's kind of feeling stuck?
I would say one of the most important things we can do is to look past the do not disturb sign that we believe it is hanging around the neck of the person in front of us.
We do a pretty good job showing that sign.
Yes, we do. At the gym, hats down, earbuds are in, they're focused on their stuff, they're not looking anybody in the eye. There's a lot of that. Even at coffee shops, there's a lot of what appears to be a do not disturb sign. If you've ever seen one of those signs at a business that says, closed or, open, the flip side of it, the flip side of the do not disturb sign is, I need to feel seen. People have an intense need to feel seen. We're getting a lot less people reps these days. When we go to the store, we do the self-checkout instead of talking to the person at the register and having them check us out. We can order our coffee and such on an app and just show up and just pick it up and leave and not talk to a soul.
Yep.
The amount of people reps that we get as far as talking to and connecting with people, our people reps are way down.
Way down.
And along with that, we've seen increases in loneliness, increases in anxiety, increases in social distrust. We think the world is a worse place. Mm-hmm. So my advice would be, number one, to look past the do not disturb sign. The other side of that sign is I need to be seen. I need to feel seen. Mm-hmm. In addition, small things we can do, a little less Amazon delivery, a little less DoorDash or Uber Eats or something. If we can simply go out and have a touch point with a person, it's amazing how helpful that is for our mental state. So just if we took 1 week, if you looked at all of the delivery stuff, all the convenience things, because we've traded convenience for connection.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
Right.
as the joke is with, why do we have a cell phone when we know a landline works better?
Right.
No drop calls with the landline.
Right.
It works every time.
Yeah.
In storms, doesn't matter, because we want convenience. But what the convenience has caused us to lose the social interaction, the people interaction.
Right.
They work from home. They're on a Zoom call with people. It's not the
Right.
same as you pointed out.
Right.
You don't get the same connection, and the neuroscience doesn't work the same way.
No. And it's almost like in Minnesota, as we approach winter right now,
Hibernation.
everybody knows that we're going to be vitamin D deficient in a couple months. We're not going to have enough sunlight. We're going to be vitamin D deficient.
Mm-hmm.
The same is true with humans in regard to human interaction. Like, if me talking with you gives me vitamin H, if it's the human vitamin, we are, because of our decreased amount of connections with people, we are severely and dangerously deficient in human vitamin, in that vitamin H. So if we realize that our do not disturb sign, that the flip side of that is I need to be seen. If we realize that if we simply cut back a little bit on the amount of things that are just dropped at our door, and just go out just for the point of just like one more micro social interaction. And then if we also take into account that people are severely vitamin H deficient, if we can just remember that, it's like, man, we can become the evidence of good that people are desperately searching for in the world. It's like, that's what we get to do. We get to be the evidence of good that people are searching for. It's like, yeah, I want to be that.
Well, I know I'm very thankful that I'm in a human-to-human business, right? But even we don't have as many interactions as we once did. But I know that if I don't get that face-to-face with people, if I'm stuck in my office by myself, I have I'm a different person.
Oh, yeah.
I've
heard stories.
Yeah,
No.
it's true. They're all true. No. But to add to that advice is, getting out, having the H conversation, right, with another human, maybe being a little generous.
Right.
But even if you're the one feeling the need seen and heard, maybe that's by you opening the door up to hearing other people.
Right.
That's your cue that you're going to be seen and heard too.
Right. It's almost a reciprocal opportunity. A lot of the neuroscience involves mirroring. We mirror tone, we mirror empathy, we mirror and reciprocate generosity in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And the same is true for just communication and interaction. If I'm going to ask you a question about yourself, about you, then you're very likely to turn around and after you've answered, you're going to ask me something as well and give me a chance to be seen. We mirror all of the time. And so when you offer that first, we don't need to expect it to come back, but there's a reasonable likelihood that it will.
Yes. You want someone to ask you what you do for a living? Ask them what they do for a living.
Right. Yep.
Yep, absolutely.
That's right on.
Anything else in the neuroscience things we make sure we touch on?
I think we've hit a bunch of them.
We really did.
The one thing we haven't talked about, though, yet is the one person that we need to trust the most is ourselves. And
that's kind of hard, though, sometimes for a lot of – and, I mean, we all go through it, right?
Right.
We have high expectations. So a lot of us, especially high achievers, it's never good enough.
Right.
We have very high expectations of ourselves.
Right.
It's never going to be a point where we feel like, yep, good to go.
Yeah.
So how do you handle that in that same context?
So it comes down to mounting evidence. We need to have evidence that we do and say exactly what we promised we would do and say. So I started getting up at 4:30 in the morning.
Bravo, by the way.
It's not easy.
No.
It's like 3:30 Mountain Time. It's crazy. So, but when a couple of days ago, I got up at 4:30, and I wear a little Whoop band.
Yep.
So, #Whoop,
Yep.
sponsor the podcast.
How many reds do you get a month?
Not very many.
Okay, that's good.
Not very many. I did get a red this morning.
Okay. You didn't sleep good. Anxiety from too many things this morning.
I woke up with pleurisy this morning, actually. It's like where your lungs attached to your rib cage and you can't breathe and it hurts to breathe.
Oh.
It was terrible.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's terrible. Anyway.
You never know what someone's going through.
Right, but I figured it out. It was very painful. But a couple days ago, I woke up at 4:30 and I'm waiting for my Whoop score to show up on my phone.
Yeah.
Because if I have a terrible score, then I will do the sensible thing and go back to bed. Because if I'm irritable, grouchy, crazy, if I didn't get good sleep, I have less buffer and bandwidth.
Yep.
And now either I'll be not quite the dad I want to be to my kids. No. I just have less in the tank.
Yep.
And so I don't want to have dangerously too little in the tank for the people that are placed in my path. A couple days ago, I'm waiting for the Whoop score. It's taking a while. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired. I don't feel great. I'm probably red in my Whoop score. I'm going to set my alarm for 5:30 and I'll get up in an hour. So I do that. I put my phone down. 5 seconds later, nope. And I grab my phone. I turn off the alarm. I get up. I start doing my thing. I'll see my score, but I'm going to start all my morning routine. And sure enough, my score was fine. But I kept the promise I made to myself. I am a person that gets up at 4:30. Yep. And now, a lot of times, like on Instagram, author Adam Erwin on Instagram, I will put on my story, like when I get up and I start doing all my morning stuff, I will put that out there as social proof. This is who I am.
Yep.
You can trust that this is who I am.
So the mornings at 4:30, where 99% of you said, let's go to bed, let's go back, let's get the rest. You chose to listen to the 1%, that this is what we do now, this is who I am.
Right. Because I'd made a promise to myself.
Because you made a promise to yourself.
And getting up on time and keeping my own word to myself, I trust now I have inherent trust in myself. And I've had like a few of those type of days where I'm like, I'd rather sleep. No, get up. I trust myself that when I say I'm going to get up at 4:30, I'm for sure, no matter what, going to get up at 4:30. I have an immense amount of trust. Same thing with the gym. I go to the gym every day. And the reason I go to the gym every day is because I saw my name on a list of people that went to the gym. It was like December of last year. And I made the list. I was there like 26 times in December. And that was evidence. That was proof that I'm a guy that goes to the gym almost every day.
That's who you are.
And then seeing that evidence, I'm like, oh. So the more evidence we have, the easier it is to keep our promise that we make to ourselves. I'm going to the gym today. I'm waking up at 4:30. It is so important for us to keep our own promises and also to make promises that we can keep. Mm-hmm. If I said I was going to get up at 2 a.m. every morning, no, I'm not keeping that promise. That would not work for me.
No.
But to be able to make promises that you can keep and then to do it, that builds trust in yourself. I absolutely trust myself now more than ever. Like, when I say I'm going to do something, there is an incredibly high likelihood that I will.
Yes, because one of those habits breeds other habits, and you trust yourself more and more and more as you go. You can't do everything at once.
Right.
Atomic habits, right? Start something small, and move on to the next one. So, how many days in a row, or how many days have you done the 4:30 thing?
This started end of September, the first Monday. So this is the 4th week.
Okay. Weekends too, or do you get a little more on the weekends?
This past Sunday, I did sleep in. I didn't set an alarm. I hadn't had a green score on my Whoop.
Yep. All week?
No, since I started.
Oh, no.
On the 4:30.
Okay.
I was close.
I know. I had a Whoop for 3 years, and I need to replace mine.
Yeah.
I love it, but.
Yeah, so I'd been trending yellow but like good yellow, like it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But I was still trying to kind of fine tune all the bedtime habits and try to make the adjustments, and a lot was being asked of me at certain different times. So there have been a couple days where I've intentionally gotten the rest that my body required just to help me to catch up.
Yep.
But I think there's only been 2 days over the last 20 plus where I've not gotten up at 4:30 because that's who I am now.
That's who you are. I love that.
So I also go to bed at 6. No, I'm kidding. But it has changed.
Okay, what time do you go to bed?
Typically 9:30.
Okay.
That's. And part of that is I used to lie to myself and pretend that I could be productive. Like after the kids go down, then I can get a couple more things done. No, I am minimally productive. 8:30, 9 o'clock, and that doesn't mean I can't watch a football game or I can't watch a show or something or mess around on my phone, but I'm not productive at all.
Yep.
And so turning those non-productive hours into sleep and then getting up and being productive has been game-changing.
I love it.
So
Very good. Thank you, Adam.
So glad to be here. Thanks. I'm glad we could do the full thing this time.
Yeah.
Last time it was 10 minutes with a stopwatch.
7.5 or something.
Yeah,
like
it was wild.
It was wild.